What's going on, family? We are officially on the journey to 1 million subscribers, and my team and I are giving away $30,000 to help you pay off your consumer debt. That's right. 3 E3 community members will each get $10,000 to wipe out their consumer debt. Now, do you want in? It's simple. All you have to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel and join my email list by going to anthonyoneal.com and clicking on the Join the Community tab. That's 100% it. Check this out. At 940,000 subscribers, we're surprising one lucky person live on my show with the first $10,000, and we're going to give that person a financial makeover before paying off their debt. So, before we get to today's show, hit that subscribe button and let's hit it 1 million strong before my birthday, July 1st. All right? Love you all. Let's get to the show. Building true wealth is going to take some time. So you got to stop comparing your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 6. Because why? Success is a long game. Just because you don't post about your savings doesn't mean you're not making moves. They got 1 million miles and they got an 800 credit score, but don't have $2,000 inside their bank. You're going to be ahead of 40% of the people in America. Let me put it like this. You're going to be ahead of 40% of your friends. And so to do that, you got to... Well, Anthony, 3.5 to 5%, that's not a lot of money. Agreed, it's not a lot of money. But the thing is, when it comes to parking your money inside a savings account, is that you want your money. No one is going to remember you 10 years from now because you went viral, but they will remember you. They will remember you if you can help them impact and change their life. We're all witnessing what's happening in today's economy. You see, interest rates are climbing. Inflation is stretching every single dollar, and there's uncertainty around every corner. I don't want you or your family to be caught off guard, right? If your finances aren't in order, now is the time to wake up and make a shift. I've been sounding, honestly, this alarm for years now. And while some of you all have listened, right, the truth of the fact is a lot of you all kind of brushed it off. But the truth is you can't afford to wait any longer, family. It's time to stop living paycheck to paycheck. Stop making excuses and start building a foundation that can weather any storm. Seriously. You see, this isn't just about stacking up cash. It's about creating lasting change and positioning you and your family for long-term success. Not just success today, but for generations, no matter what's happening in the world. Now, here's what I'm actually covering inside of today's show. The patience of what it would take to build true wealth. Not just look rich, but build true wealth. You see, and the difference between looking rich and actually having some money. And the critical importance of having an emergency fund now more than ever. So listen, today's show is a unique one. This is a special one. It's a mashup of everything that's going to help you get right today. So let's get dialed in and let's get to today's show. You might be behind and you might feel like you're behind, but let's be real. Wealth takes time. You're rushing the process. Wealth takes time. Getting out of debt is going to take some time. Building an emergency fund is going to take some time. Building true wealth is going to take some time. So you got to stop comparing your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 6. You got to stop comparing your chapter 1, if you're just now starting out, to someone else's chapter 10. It took many wealthy people years to build what you're just starting. And young people, I want to speak to my younger generation right there. No, you can't graduate college today. No, you can't graduate high school today and think you're going to be worth $20 million and you're not going to have a job and you're going to have people working for you. No, get out there and get a job. Learn how to be an employee. Learn what it feels like to be an employee so that way you can be the best employer when God puts you in that position. Because if you don't know how to treat your employees, if you don't know how to treat your team members, your business is not going to go far. Because why? Success is a long game.
I'm not saying we haven't seen overnight success, but overnight success and overnight wealth is very, very, very rare. But most real success comes from consistent effort. Growth is supposed to feel slow. If it was easy, everyone would be wealthy. If it was easy, everyone would be wealthy. Everyone is always asking, like, Anthony, man, you've grown so fast. You know, 4 or 5 years ago, you had 123,000 subscribers. Today, you're knocking on that 1 million door. You had 880 something thousand subscribers just on YouTube alone, and you're killing it on podcasts. You got this over there. You got all these emails. Like, man, your brand is growing. What was the success? How did you grow so fast? I said, you're only looking at the last 4 years. Do not discredit the 5 years that it took me to get to 130,000 subscribers. So that's a total of almost 9 years that I've been doing this. The first 5 years was trial and error, trying new things, trying to do things that I just, at that season of my life, I couldn't do because I had to keep in mind of a larger and I wouldn't say a better, but a larger and a more profound name, that some of the things that I wanted to do and say that just didn't align there. So I couldn't do things. But when I got out on my own, man, we grew a little bit faster over the 4 years because we were able to take a little bit more edgy approach to my content. But we still can't discredit, I didn't grow overnight. I'm not knocking on 1 million in 1 year. It's been years and years and years of work. It's been years of small wins that have led to big success. Focusing on making daily progress. Every single day, I'm waking up. Okay, what can I do today to build more wealth? What can I do today to get to 1 million subscribers? What can I do today that makes me a better man? And when I become a better man, I can make more money, because as I'm evolving, as I'm growing, as I am maturing, as I'm shifting in leadership styles and how I'm growing as a leader, it only helps me. So I want to say this up front. Y'all, give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace. Because you're building something that will last. Here within our community, the E3 community, we're not building something that looks good only for today. No. We're building something. Ooh. When y'all hear me say that, I just feel something drop in my spirit. We're building something that will last beyond us. We're building something that our kids will turn around and say, thank you, Mom and Dad. We're building something that if we're blessed and fortunate enough, that our children's children will say, thank you, Grandma, thank you, Grandpa. We're building something that our local church, when we pass, will say, thank you, Ayo. Because we gave ourselves enough grace to understand that, hey, we're building something that will last, and not just last to benefit me, but it will last to bless generations. It will last to continue building the kingdom. It will last to impact the culture and the community. I'm building something, and God convicted me. Oh my gosh. My company was doing well a year and a half ago. Very well. We was making millions. And God said, you look good today, but you're not really building something that will last way beyond you. I said, what? What do you mean? And he gave me this idea that downloaded into my head that, you're comparing yourself to all these people out here. And watch this. I've called them to do that, but I've called you to do something else. And I need you to pivot from what you see in your particular space and pivot over here and work on this. And do this. because this is going to be beyond you. This is going to be bigger than Anthony. It's going to be bigger than the table with Anthony O'Neill. It's going to be bigger than the Neatness Network. This is going to impact the community. This is going to impact culture. This is going to impact the world. And because you do this, when you do this over here, now you're impacting families who've never met you before. Because you're building something that will last, not just something that looks good and it goes viral today. No one is going to remember you 10 years from now because you went viral, but they will remember you. They will remember you if you can help them impact and change their life. So wealth doesn't look good. Wealth feels good. And wealth produces something that is bigger than you. If we're going to separate ourselves from the world, separate ourselves from what we see on Instagram, from what we're seeing they do. If you're saving, if you're investing, and if you're living below your means, you won't always look rich. But you're actually setting yourself up to be wealthy. I wish we could put that B on the screen. Ed, if you could figure that out, if you could put that B, just put B real big on the screen. Because I don't want us to look L-O-O-K rich. I want us to be wealthy. Because we know what look means. Looks means like, okay, you look good, but are you good? You look rich, but are you wealthy? You look mentally healthy, but are you mentally healthy? You look like you got everything together, but do you have everything together? You look rich, but I want you to be wealthy. The truth of the fact is, as I'm continuing to grow and to learn and evolve, wealth is built somewhat in private. Just because you don't post about your savings doesn't mean you're not making moves. Just because you don't post about the cars that you bought doesn't mean you don't drive a new car. Just because you don't post about all of your investment strategies, it doesn't mean you don't have an investment portfolio. And I'm having to constantly remind myself, because I think for me, there's a balance between showing you all what financial freedom and what wealth looks like, because I need y'all to see, a man who builds wealth and what that looks like. But at the same time, I don't need to be showing you all every single thing, because that's none of y'all's business. It's none of our business on every single thing that you have, because wealth is built in private. And honestly, you don't want everyone knowing how much money you actually have. Because one thing I've learned, especially over the last 4 years, delayed gratification wins, man. I think all of us, we always try to immediately go for the quick wins. And I think in certain places, in certain seasons, going for the quick wins is actually good. For an example, if you're eliminating your debt, going for the smallest one, which is a quick win, is actually pretty good. But sometimes, delayed gratification wins. Sometimes going the longer route, like me, going back into school and doing 2 degrees. 2 degrees at the same time. It's been y'all, I have literally cried at night sometimes. And I felt the stress. But what has pushed me to keep going was delayed gratification. That where God, watch this, where God is telling me to go, what we talked about earlier, right? My next steps. I know for me to get to my next steps, I have to buckle down in 2025. I have to. I have to buckle down in 2025 and get my degrees. Have to. And I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I have even told y'all every single thing that we've really been working on, but I'm doing it. We're doing it real good. We have to skip the flex now so that we can live financially free later. So many of us are going to wake up when we're 70 years old, 80 years old, saying, daggone it, why was I flexing so much? Because now in my 70s and 80s, I still got to work at McDonald's. I still got to work at Burger King. I still got to work at Walmart because I was flexing when I was younger. I had a Louis Vuitton purse. I had a Louis Vuitton backpack. I was flying first class every single where. I was flying on private jets because I was making this money as an influencer. I was buying this car, leasing this car that I didn't need. I bought this big old house that I didn't need. I was flexing at the cost of where I'm at today to where now at 70, when I should be in peace, when I shouldn't have to work, when I should be a great grandfather, a great grandmother, when I should be, watching my grandkids and sending them back bad. Now I have to work. Now I have to work because I was flexing. So if you're behind, watch this. I need you to invest in your future, not just your image. I need you to invest into the stocks, to the stock market, real estate, build a business. I want you to do all that over designer brands any day. I don't want you to try and keep up with the people because most folks flexing online don't even have $1,000 in their savings account. That's proven fact. Another study came out and revealed that if a $2,000 emergency came up, only 38% of people in America could afford to pay for it cash, but they got 1 million miles. They got 1 million miles and they got an 800 credit score, but don't have $2,000 inside their bank. Listen, y'all. Stay focused on your goals. Do not focus on the lifestyle that we see on social media. Because the truth of the fact is their path isn't yours and you do not want that path to be yours. Do you really want to look like you have a lot of money? Do you really want to have 1 million miles, 1 million points? Do you really want to have an 800 credit score, but you don't even have $2,000 inside of your bank account? You're living paycheck to paycheck? But you can brag that I got the Amex, flying for free.
Y'all want to thank my friends over at BetterHelp for sponsoring today's show. I want to talk numbers real quick. You see, traditional in-person therapy can cost anywhere from $100 to $250 per session. That adds up fast. You see, but with BetterHelp online therapy, you can save up to 50% per session while still getting high quality care. You see, with BetterHelp, you pay a flat weekly fee, making therapy more affordable, flexible, and accessible than ever. No more feeling like mental health is a luxury. It's something everyone deserves. Whether you're dealing with anxiety, stress, or just need a space to process life, therapy should fit your budget and your schedule. You see, personally, I turn to therapy to clear my mind, regulate my emotions, and navigate life's ups and downs. You see, and with BetterHelp, getting support is easier than ever. As the world's largest online therapy platform, BetterHelp connects you with over 30,000 licensed therapists and has already helped over 5 million people worldwide. It's convenient too, just a click away. And if your therapist isn't the right fit, you can switch anytime 100% hassle-free. So, your well-being is 100% worth it. I want you to visit betterhelp.com/AO today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/AO. All right, let's get back to today's show.
Keep your eyes on what truly, truly matters. Because here at the end of the day, real wealth looks different. Real wealth doesn't need to prove anything. I've never seen Bill Gates. I saw him on, man, I forgot the name of that podcast that I follow. He just recently did a podcast, and man, the dude does not look like he's a billionaire. Dude got on some Levi jeans, a polo shirt, and some Nike comfortable shoes. I was like, wow. Now, I'm not knocking, especially within our community, within the Black community, fashion is just our thing. I'm not knocking us for fashion. I think my problem is when we choose fashion over financial stability, that we would rather look good than actually be good. Because true wealth, real wealth, doesn't need to prove anything. Real wealth moves differently. Instead of showing off, real wealth focuses on ownership and freedom and impact. Wealthy people buy assets not only liabilities. I hate it when I hear some people say wealthy people don't buy any liabilities. No, they do. But they've built so much of an asset portfolio that the income that's coming from the assets pays for their toys, pays for their liabilities. But they focus on building portfolios, not just buying material things. Wealthy people are living below their means. I think a study came out in Rio that nearly 48%, no, it was about 60% of millionaires drive used cars and live in modern size homes. They're not living in these big 20,000, 30,000 square foot homes, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. But also, we also have to keep, when I'm quoting millionaires, one of the things I've learned from my mentor and old boss, Dave Ramsey, is we got to get out of just saying millionaires are people who make $1 million, right? No, the millionaires are people who have a net worth of $1 million portfolio. So these are individuals who may make $100,000 a year, but they have $1 million invested. So it's not just the individuals who may make $1 million a year that are millionaires, because watch this. I know millionaires who make $1 million a year, but do not have $1 million invested. But I know someone who makes, for an example right now, I think their household income is $123,000 between him and his wife, and they have a $1.4 million portfolio. When it comes to their house is paid for, so that's an asset. They have cars paid off, they have stock market, and they have a small business. And all of that cash liquid to where if they want to sell everything today, they're like $1.something million. Those are millionaires. And they live in a very modest home. Okay? Let me tell you something I've really been focusing on. Is that I'm at a point in my life that, yes, I want to make a lot of money that allows me to be comfortable. But before money, I want more freedom, specifically time freedom. Because what I'm learning is time freedom is the real flex. Y'all, we gotta build a solid emergency fund, because the truth of the fact is life happens. And if we're not prepared for one, if we're not prepared for just a 30 days of unexpected expenses to happen, because life is going to happen, that's going to prevent us from building emergent. That's going to prevent us, from building wealth. And I tell you all, the basics for me is start by building 30 days of your net pay inside of a high yield savings account that sits in your SoFi account. SoFi is going to give you $300 plus give you up to 4% interest. Remember, I taught this on one of my shows before too. Why is it important to have a high yield savings account compared to a standard savings account? Well, the average standard savings account is 0.05%. The average high yield savings account is going to be in between 3.5 to 5% of interest rate. Well, Anthony, 3.5 to 5%, that's not a lot of money. Agreed, it's not a lot of money. But the thing is, when it comes to parking your money inside a savings account, is that you want your money to be growing with inflation. So if inflation goes 2 to 3% a year, you want your money growing 2 to 3% a year. If inflation goes up 1% and you go up 2.5%, well, that means your money outgrew inflation. That's why if you're going to have your money sitting inside of a high yield savings account by putting maybe just 1 month of your net pay inside of a high yield savings account, then eliminating your debt. After you eliminate your debt, you're going to put 3 to 6 months of your net pay inside of this SoFi high yield savings account. Then now your money is keeping up. Last month alone, because I went further and beyond. I have saved 1 year of my net pay that I pay myself, right? So this way I can cover mortgage, golfing, traveling, whatever that is. I paid my average 1 year of net salary that I paid myself, and I put that inside of a high yield savings account. So that's over, a good 6 figures. Last year, that account made me $700. Not last year, last month, that account made me $700. So we're going to drop SoFi's information inside of today's show notes. Yo, click on it, because I don't know how much longer they're going to be giving you $300 for this particular account. But I promise you right now, if you go to anthonyoneil.com/savings, it's going to be amazing. But I also want to say this, your emergency fund, because I talk about this often, your emergency fund is not your fun money, all right? This is not single people. This is not your line item on your budget, because you should have this on your budget. This is not your dating money. This is not, ladies, your hair money, your makeup money, your nails money. Your emergency fund is like, oh shucks, I just broke a nail. Oh shucks, it was just raining, my hair got messed up. No. That's not that. No. That should be a separate line item on your budget. But your emergency fund is not to be touched unless it is an extreme emergency. And to be honest with you, I have two particular items within my budget. I have an emergency fund, then I have a miscellaneous fund. A miscellaneous fund, I may have like an extra $500 to $1,000 just sitting there, for an example. Some of you may just have a miscellaneous fund of $100, $200, $300 on your budget that, hey, something may happen, something may maneuver around. Instead of you going to your emergency fund, you go to your miscellaneous fund. And that's what I tend to do. If something happens throughout the day or throughout the month, within that particular budget, and I didn't allocate for that, I look at my miscellaneous. If I have an extra $200 sitting there for the miscellaneous spending, and I have a $100 miscellaneous budget that comes up, like a friend asked me to come out to a dinner and I spent $75. Okay, cool, great. I'm gonna take that out of my miscellaneous if I don't have it inside of my food fund. All right. And so this is super crucial to all of us. And some of you are probably saying, Anthony, but I don't even know how to start. Let me tell you how to start. Start small and just be consistent. Even if you can only start with $50, put $50 inside this high yield savings account. Then as you're working your way up, as you're gaining more money, as you're going back to your budget, as you're going back and looking at your finances and seeing where you can move things and allocate things differently, then you'll go on up. The goal again is to set aside 1 month of your net pay right now, because if 40% of the American people cannot afford a $1,000 cash emergency without financing it, without putting it on a credit card, you're going to be ahead of 40% of the people in America. Let me put it like this. You're going to be ahead of 40% of your friends. And so to do that, you got to automate your savings. Set up on automatic transfers every single time you get paid until you reach your goal. But if you're going to set up automatic transfers by building a high yield savings account, you got to cut I would say this, non-essential expenses. Redirect money, right? From unnecessary subscriptions, dining out, and impulse spending into your emergency fund. Maybe you need to pause on some of those apps. Maybe you need to pause on some of those subscription things that you have and just redirect it into your emergency fund. Because I'm going to tell you and be honest with y'all, man, my Lord Jesus. It feels so good to know when the world is stressing, I might be a little concerned, but I'm not fearful because I have an emergency fund. If I was to lose everything in my business right now, if I had to shut down my business right now, I will be good for 1 year. I will be so good for 1 year. I wouldn't have to change my lifestyle, and as determined and as focused as I am and creative as I am, I can find money within a year. Heck, to be honest with you, give me 90 days to 6 months. I'll find a way to make me some more money. And what I love about it is I'm debt free. I'm debt free. So I don't have any major bills outside of my consumer debt. Not consumer debt. I don't have any consumer debt, but outside of my non-consumer debt, which are mortgages, I'm good. I don't have to sell my cars. I can cook from the house. I got a beautiful house with a great grill. Like I'm straight. Some of you are going to get some tax refunds this year. You got to use your extra wisely. Tax refunds, bonuses, side hustle income. Instead of splurging, I want you to put 50% of that into your savings until you hit your savings goal.